Hi guys, and welcome to the Worst IV podcast. I'm Tshepi and I'm your host for today. By my side I have the EFF representative and the SEO representative. Can you please tell us your names?
Hi, hello. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I'm Unarne Murondo, a member of EFF Deputy Secretary of Union Lim Branch.
And you are?
Well, thank you very much, presenter. Myself, I'm Delen Makungushai. I'm from Student Christian Organization, the newly elected SRC Secretary General.
Thank you guys. So can you start with you? Can you please tell us a bit more about the EFF?
Thank you very much, my sister Tshepi. EFF is the movement that stands to represent black people, of which later it was established to have a student command, a student command that exists in all universities to represent students, especially those from poor background and those black students in particular. Ours is to stand and fight against all things that management do that disadvantage our students. That can be during the time of registration. EFF fight that students must be registered for free because they are poor, they don't have anything from where they come from. That's what the EFF tend to represent.
Okay, thank you. And the SEO?
Well, thanks very much once again. SEO is a Student Christian Organization. I will start there at the word organization. Should understand the word organization simply means a group of organized people with a particular purpose. So our purpose, number one, SEO is divided into three, which is a spiritual wing, a political wing, and a social wing. So our purpose in a side of spiritual wing is to reach students for Christ. Politically is to serve all the students, the matters of the students in the university. And then also we socialize with students. Thanks very much.
Okay, what did you say your position was in the SEO?
In the SEO, I'm the deputy chairperson of the Student Affairs Desk.
Okay.
In the SRC, I'm the Secretary General of 2021-2022. And
your position is?
Deputy Secretary of the branch.
Of the branch. Okay, so can you please tell me a little, both going to give you a chance to tell me what have you done for the students so far since you have formed your political party in the university?
Oh.
Yeah.
You are starting with me now.
You can tell us.
Okay, thanks very much. The Student Christian Organization is always there for students.
Okay.
We know sometimes students are saying we are not visible, but I can say that's not true. We are always there. We serve the matters of the students. When they are having problems financially, we help them we clear them, all the matters that affect them. Then up to so far, what I can say, the issue of off-campus allowance, the one that we got previously, now this year, it was the Student Christian Organizations who were the one who was sitting with the NSFAS people. It was around, I forgot, but I think April or May. After when we've engaged with SASCO and EFF, the management didn't allow SASCO and EFF to enter campus because of their violence. But because of that day, there was SCO there. Then they ended up allowing us to enter the campus. We negotiated the issue of off-campus allowance. Now students are receiving their off-campus allowance, even though it's not full.
Okay, thank you. And what has the EFF done for our students so far since it has been active in the University of Limpopo? Or you can tell me one of the biggest achievements that they have reached since they have started being active in our university.
Thank you very much, my sister. EFF is the only political party in the University of Limpopo that managed to bring a meal a day for students, so that each and every time students are going to write, they must pass by student center to get something to eat. EFFSC is the only political party that was seen visible fighting for free registration for students with our campaign called Sizofuna. That's a campaign that challenges registration, that registration must be free. In particular, it must be manual, because we know that online registration and it has been evident in our 2021 registration, or is disadvantaging many of our prospective first entering students and even returning students, including postgraduate. Also, the EFF Student Command is the only political party that have managed to challenge the issue of finances. Till today, day before yesterday, there were students who received their allowances. Those who were not getting their allowances, it was through the EFF and members of the EFF. EFF is the only political party that is sitting in disciplinary committee representing our students, those who are facing disciplinary. EFF is the one that in the Faculty of Science and Agriculture, it championed the issue of disciplinary. Now we are having students that were facing disciplinary, but now the case is dismissed because the university didn't have a case against students. It was only the EFFSC that did that.
Okay, there is a lot of achievements from your side, guys. And speaking of achievements, we are coming from the SRC votes. I would like to know how many seats each of you have been able to obtain from the votes for this year, from the SCO.
Well, thank you very much. You see, these things of interview, we're supposed to be having water here so that I can drink before I speak. But the Student Christian Organization, it has 1 seat.
Okay, in the SRC. And the EFF has how many seats?
As far as the EFF is concerned, we're having 9 seats. But with the method, the incorrect method that the university used, it ended up saying that EFFSC is having 8 seats. That is a tie with SASCO, of which is becoming impossible because both the votes of SASCO, ACO, and ABC combined, they don't add up to the vote of that EFF is heavy.
Yeah.
That's something that we've proved, that's something that we've calculated, but because of what management have in their heart and their minds, is the one that resulted in them giving us 8 seats. That becomes a tie with SASCO.
Okay, but I've been hearing stories that you guys are against the company that were into compiling the votes and counting the votes, but it's been said that this company has been working they've been using this method for the past years, and you guys have never said it's incorrect. Now that you guys are seeing that it's disadvantaging you, that's when you're starting to say it's incorrect.
Point of correction, my sister. EFFS is never disadvantaged because EFFS is the political party that is holding majority of votes.
Okay.
By that, we are not disadvantaged anyhow. So the EFF is standing up to can say that Kwan, in particular, the company that was running election this year, is incompetent. We can start by saying that there were 3 plenary results that were released, if not 4. And those 3 plenary results that were released, all of them, they were showing different calculations. That should raise concern. If you are in a leader that pays attention to the smallest details, you can see there's something wrong happening here. Because the first method showed that EFF is having 9 seats, SASCO 7, SCO 1. The hanging seat that was supposed to be given to SASCO, it was allocated by this SCO to SCO, the first method.
Okay.
The second method still showed that EFF is having 9 seats, SASCO 8 seats, SO 0. Then the last method, this one, the so-called method we've been using for the past years, of which it doesn't mean that if you have been using something for the past years, it is no longer incorrect. It is not incorrect. If something is incorrect, it's incorrect, even though you have been using for the past years. That's why EFF is standing up to can say that now what is happening with the majority of vote that is there, everyone can see, or in the calculation, the only thing that is changing is the number of seats that is allocated. There's no votes that we can say that now the vote are fluctuating, the numbers of EFF is reduced. It's not. And if you check EFF in 2 methods, it was having 9 seats. In the 2 methods that they used, it was having 9 seats. And they said the method that as the EFF we are standing with is the second method that the EFF is having 9 seats, SASCO 8 seats, then SCO 0 seats. That's the method which is correct. And I'm glad that even my brother of SCO and SASCO, they agree that the method which was used is incorrect.
Let's ask them ourselves, do you agree with the EFF that the method is incorrect?
Well, my sister, let me start by saying, okay, I don't agree. But I want to start by saying the word preliminary. I'm sure even yourself next to me, you understand what's the meaning of preliminary.
Yeah.
Yes, the reason why they release preliminary results, the preliminary results are not yet final, which means if you want to dispute the results, you have to dispute the result with reasons why are you disputing the results.
Okay.
Now, the method that was used, the third method, the third preliminary result, is the method that they've been using it previously.
But I have a question. Why did they start by using different methods in the first two results?
Because it's preliminary. It's not yet final.
But if
Preliminary, it shows that there are some mistakes.
Okay, if the last method that they use is the method they've been using for years, why not start with that one?
With what?
You said the last method that they were the one they used.
I think this question you were supposed to ask my brother that side, because the very same method in the first preliminary result, they were overexcited. And in that result, we were given a seat.
Yes.
A seat that now they are saying SEO doesn't qualify for a seat. In the first preliminary result, they were celebrating, or yes, we're having a seat with SEO.
Yes. Okay, so the question was, the method, okay, you were saying you don't agree with the method. I guess this question should not be directed to you guys, because my question was, why is the last method they used the correct one, the one that they've been using for years? Why did they use it at the bottom of the list and not start with that same method that they've been using for years and years?
My sister, hence I'm saying, the fact that they released 3 preliminary results,
Yes.
of which in the previous it's never happened. Previous years.
Yes, it's never happened.
It's never happened. Because they stick to the method that Rena, as the EFF is saying, is incorrect. Hence, it started to be suspicious when we received the second preliminary results. Hence, as the EFF, we sat down, do our calculations, and see, indeed, in the first method these people are using, it's incorrect. Then, in our minds, we were convinced that now they've come back to their senses, or now they're sticking to the correct method with the second one. So now when they change to the third one, again, we ask ourselves, of which at that time the EFF objected those preliminary results. We send it to Kwan, or this EFF is objecting to these results, based on the following reason that we gave. They dismissed our objection, of which later it must be sent to the VC, of which the VC later gave a ruling to can also dismiss what we are saying, to say that it's null and void. And their reasoning of that is that with this method we have been using in the past years, in what in our mind we are convinced, because they never disputed this method is incorrect or is correct, but they are saying this method we must use it because we have been using the method in the past. Hence, I said, my sister, the fact that the method we have been using it in the past years doesn't make the method correct. That's one thing that you must know. The fact that something you have been doing, it doesn't mean that thing is correct.
Okay, so does the EFF accept the seats that they have been allocated by the university?
We as the EFF, we rejected the seats that we've been allocated to. Hence, till today, those who were overexcited with the fact that they're going to get material things like iPhone and Fabian suits, they went and constitute. As the EFFSC, we never formed part of constituting. Still today.
Okay, tell me, so as the EFFC, what are you planning to do with this matter of seats and this method that is wrong and which one is right?
The matter is dealt with internally, of which we have exhausted all the internal ways to can solve the matters, of which it was not in our favor. And you know, in law, if something is not your favor or you're still not satisfied with the judgment, you take it somewhere else. And now that's our stand as the EFFSC, or this matter will take it to the highest court in the land until it's resolved. Because we still stand with what we are saying. We are not shaken by anything. Hence, we are not even shaken when they send us emails that we have 2 hours to submit the list of candidates that must come and constitute. Because we told them straight, we are not coming to constitute. We are going to exhaust all the possible ways to resolve this thing.
Okay, so once this thing is resolved and you get your allocated seats in the SRC, what is the EFF planning to do this term for the term for the students?
The EFF is standing to represent students so that what the content that was taught online,
yes,
let it be examined online.
Yes.
Because we see now the tactic that University of Limpopo is coming up with Yauri. Now they are starting to repatriate.
Yeah, people are repatriated.
Based examination. That's what we are standing against.
How will the EFF tackle this? Because it seems like it's already been solidified by the university.
University, it operates on its own. You can check that those decisions when they made, they were not representatives. So now it's time, as the EFFSC, we're going to stand up and stop any possible examination that is going to happen on campus. So that whatever that was taught online, let it be examined online. Because earlier in March, when we were having our strikes, as SEO identified us and SASCO to be violent, of which is not violent, they said revolution is the solution. If you exhaust all the possible way of sending memorandum and they don't respond, you must go to the revolution. So earlier March, we went and strike so that the university can repatriate 100% of students. In that repatriation of 100% of students, if university on its own knew that later on they will want these people to write on campus, they were supposed to have venue-based classes. And that content, they teach those people in venue-based, but they never did that. Also ours is to go and represent these people in the sports, our students in the sports. We know the affiliation in the sports is too much from what we have consulted with our students. So now the EFF is going to champion the issue that if this amount of affiliation is not cancelled, let it be reduced so that it accommodate even those non-funded students who don't have money to can go enjoy. We go and extend this thing here. You see online classes, you find that one class is max 2 hours with the 10 gig during the day, 20 night old. In most cases, you can come back. Do we attend after 12? No, we don't attend. We attend during the day. Why does university now give us 10 gig during the day? Later on, they give us 20 gig that in most cases we don't even use. So it must be doubled. Also, when you double it, then this data that you use during the day, there must be more than the night old. Because what we want is this one of during the day. We write during the day. We attend during the day. Why are we allocated more late? Our EFF tend to represent that all female in the University of Limpopo, because we know this thing of going to their periods is something that they didn't choose, women. It's not voluntary, it's nature. So University of Limpopo must provide free sanitary pads for all, for our students. That's what as the EFFSC we are standing for.
Okay, the SCO, that was a mouthful. So I want to know what the SCO is planning to do about the online people, the people who attended online and are being repatriated to come and write tests on campus.
Well, thank you very much. The question is well understandable. You see, there are some of the things where we have rules. There are rules. And we also have the rules of the country national. If you can check, the country was on level 1, 2, 3, 4. Things are changing and the regulations are different based on the levels. So if we can check the time students were attending online, we're not in level 1. And I'm sure the management or the faculty or the school, they were having their own rule. Before we can say we challenge this thing, we must understand what was their rule. Are you getting my point?
Yes, I'm getting your point.
Yes, we must understand what was their rule. Then is when we can challenge that. Because in other schools, they were already planning for exam, venue-based exam, even if students write or even if students learn online. So now we cannot say we are challenging this because of 1, 2, 3. We must know level 1 regulations.
Okay, so you're saying the SCO is not going to challenge the fact that students are being repatriated?
Before we challenge the fact that students are being repatriated, we have to check all the rules. It's not a matter of just challenging without not understanding what's happening. We check all the rules, we work on principles. If the rules disadvantages students, it's when we're going to challenge it. But if the rule, it doesn't disadvantage them, then...
But is not attending online and then coming to write on campus a disadvantage for the students?
What's the problem there? Because sometimes some of the tests, we write, we scan, we submit. So what's the difference when you are sitting down, you write?
Imagine you having to go on campus and write that and in a sit-in and write an exam when you haven't been on campus for more than a year. Your mind is not used to the fact that you're going to sit down on a table and write on a piece of paper, be given 2 hours and be invigilated while you're writing on campus when you're used to using your laptop to write. It won't be a natural feeling to be in that environment, and some learners have not had the time to prepare for this kind of things.
You see, my sister, some of the things we must not say it because we want students to love us, but we must work on principles. We state the fact. Okay. Even when we write online, we're invigilated. There's that thing they call it what browser, I forgot it. You will assist me. Lockdown. Thank you very much. Where you sit down in your room or at home somewhere where there is a table, you write, you are invigilated. So what's the difference?
But it was not all students that were being invigilated, though.
And it's not all students who are repatriated. That is why I'm saying there are some schools, some faculties, and they are having their own rules. So ours is to check and challenge the rules. We check if the rules are advantageous to the students. Then it's when we're going to challenge it. Not to say, we just say, hey, we're against that thing. We don't even know where does it start, it ends where.
Okay, it seems like the EFF has something to say about this.
Thank you, my sister.
Yes.
I remember last week, we were called by students in the School of Accountants.
Yes.
Finally, who were repatriated to consider they are coming to write on campus. From the consultation that we had with those students, majority of them are saying we are ready to get and write on campus. We don't have a problem with that. But now what we want the EFF to can postpone the test week so that we have enough time to prepare to write.
Okay.
That's one thing that it was consultation with those students. But not themselves, they are the one that said that we just want a test week to be postponed. But we don't dispute writing online with the reason they gave. And the EFF gave those students what they want. It was postponed. They started on Friday. So now I want to bring you back to the thing you're writing on campus while you were attending online.
Yes.
As the EFF, before the elections, we went door to door for manifesto consultation, consulting students in what they want. In majority of those students are the ones that stand up to say that this thing of writing on campus while we attended online is not on. We don't want it to happen like that. With the reason they gave us, we agree that you are very much right. As the EFF, we're going to put it on our manifesto, and this is what we're going to fight for, so that it happens at the University of Limpopo. This thing of lockdown browse is now that is being introduced. If you check, that thing is not even in all the schools. It's just being introduced. In most cases, it's lectures that are being used to introduce in their modules that they're lecturing. It's not everywhere. So let me give an example in the School of Accountants again. Those people write on the paper, scan and submit. That thing of lockdown browser is not going to assist anyhow, because lockdown browser works immediately when you log into Blackboard and open that test. It's closing all the apps. So in School of Accountancy, you just download a paper. You go and write on your paper, you scan submit, which means that thing is not going to affect you anyhow. But which means that majority of those people, because only School of Accountancy is not even the biggest school in the university, which means that majority of those people are from science and agriculture, humanities. Those are the people that write online. Which means that they are the ones that are going to be impacted by that. That's why when you're doing that manifesto consultation, it was majority of those people who are saying that we don't want this day, it's going to impact us. Because when you go to write on campus, mentally, you must be ready to write. Check the period, it's been 18 months plus.
It's a different environment.
Yes. 18 months plus while we're attending online, writing online. Now you have to come back, give them, University of Limpopo usually give you a permit 5 days or 3 days before you come back to campus. You find that your exam is your test is scheduled in the next 3 days. Which means that you still have to come back, adjust to the environment. When you're adjusting to the environment, do you have that time to adjust, prepare for the test, go right at the same time now?
No.
Our students don't have that time. And University of Limpopo now don't care about what students are going through or they are passing of it, they don't care. Theirs is to complete the academic year before December. That's what is happening. That's why you are writing concept, test, assignment, back to back at the same week, because they are running after the university calendar, not about the quality of education that is being given to students.
Okay.
Before you say theirs is to write the exam, to finish the exam before December, that's not true. Let's go back and check the timetable, the examination timetable. You will see that even in December, students will be writing. Thanks very much.
Okay.
No comment.
Okay, let me move on. This question is directed to the EFF specifically. We want to know why the students at the beginning of the year, was it last year or that period during lockdown, the hardest lockdown, when they got the laptops, why did students have to pay for the laptops?
My sister, you must remember during that time, APSA donated 100 laptops.
Yes.
Those were the laptops that were donated. And you must remember that we were guided by the document of the DHET, Department of Higher Education.
Okay.
Firstly, if you remember or if you listen to the speech made by the Minister of Higher Education, it was said that students are going to be given free laptops.
Yes.
And if you check in South Africa, the first university who can give that university, it was most likely University of Limpopo.
Yeah.
So later on, the minister went to change that. Those who are receiving the laptops are going to be charged, and they don't receive their book allowance the following year. I am sure you remember when it caused confusion that time, where there were videos trending that we are not going to return the laptops, we are going to get our book allowance. And then when the University of Limpopo issued out a survey that you were filling in there.
Yes, yes.
In that survey, there were options that I'm going to purchase this myself, or let it be debited on my student account. Once it's debited in your student account and you're funded by the NSFAS, which means that amount is expected to be settled by NSFAS.
But this wasn't made clear to the students in the first place.
No, my sister, the one thing that I'm saying, there, if you remember, there was confusion.
Yes, there was.
The confusion was not created by us as the EFF. It was created by the Minister of Higher Education. Because firstly he said, in his first speech, I'm sure it was over excitement, that there were 500 billion budgeted, allocated nationally there, to consider that we're going to give NSFAS funded students free laptops or tablets. Later on he changed, you understand? And you find that when he changed, when you students go there, that's why there was video trending on how you're going to fill in that survey. That survey was very much clear. And when you were called to come and collect the laptop, there was a form that we're filling there. In that form, it was clearly written that your account will be debited with amount not more than 6,000, which means immediately when your student had a choice to can accept or refuse. But you know that because most of our students never had laptops and they wanted laptop, hence they ended up saying that, okay, let it be debited in my account. Hence even this year when it was happening, not so many people stood up to say that we're having a problem, because they knew that amount went straight to the laptop. The issue here was supposed to be that the quality of the laptop that we got, even the amount that we were charged, doesn't go hand in hand. That was the issue that now we were supposed to be engaging. That is the issue now we're supposed to be finding a solution. Or what must there happen if the quality of the laptop and the amount we paid don't go hand in hand? Because that 1 year student are charged late, were promised the free laptop. It was the DHET that says students must get free laptops. And then as the SRC that was leading that time, is then that sit with the management of the University of Limpopo Or now we're in the situation that we have to continue with the academic year. And students don't have laptops, they don't have data. That's why you see data is free, no one is charged data. Because that's something that university on its own said that we're going to give our students data, free data. It's free from the university, no one is being charged that. But the laptop, the initiative, it was from the highest department of higher education, the one that give us a mandate, what must happen in high institution of higher learning. Hence we had to go to the extent where university must get this laptop for students. Then the amount will be paid to the university. And that thing, at some point, I feel like us as the students, we were supposed to be grateful, because if it wasn't that, at a later stage, because now we're having a crisis of final year students who now can't get the certificate based on the fact of the laptop. So those ones who were charged 6,000 and never got a book allowance, they stand a chance to get their certificate when they graduate, because they've settled the debt using what the book allowance, as the Minister of Higher Education said, and is not the decision that University of Limpopo management can make. If it was that decision could have been made, then the student got free laptop. That's why there were 100 students who got laptop for free. Those 100 laptops were from ABSA as a donation. That's why they were those laptops, and they were delivered by the president, Mujala, by that time, to students. Those are the laptops that they got for free. Then the rest, it was an advance from university. That's why in each and every you go to your online facility, you see that you are owing the institution. Those allowances you receive, it's an advance from the institution that later, when they send your fees to NFSAS, NFSAS settles that one, acknowledging that, okay, this is the 15,000 for meal allowance, this is how much for accommodation allowance, then NFSAS pays for that. So when you send that with the amount of laptop, NFSAS will say that by then, the Minister of Higher Education said that this amount won't be covered by NFSAS, or if it's covered, the student won't get what? The book allowance. Hence, the book allowance is 5.6. And you find that people are still owing amount around 400 to the institution. It must come from that book allowance.
Okay. No, we understand now. I think the confusion has been settled about the laptop issue. So there is the rumor going around about people are being repatriated now. So we're talking about vaccines now. Are students gonna, because people say the EFF say that the students must be vaccinated when they come back to campus. Is it going to be forced that a student, when they are coming to write on campus, they have to be vaccinated?
I guess let's start by correcting. I care you said it's a rumor.
Yeah, it's a rumor.
As the Deputy Secretary of EFF, in our manifesto, he said that vaccine must not be compulsory. It must be optional, which means that a student is not forced to take a vaccine.
Okay.
It's an option that you are taking. That's the mandate that even national EFF, it is said that the vaccine must be optional. It must be optional. No student must be forced to take a vaccine. It's your own choice to can go and vaccinate, not to vaccinate.
Okay.
That's our stand as EFF. If University of Limpopo can come to say that now the repatriated students are forced to go to take vaccine, we are going to have something that we all want to understand what's happening, because we are not going to stand for that. It must be optional, and even the president of the country, they said that the vaccine is not going to be forced to anyone. Hence later I was confused when now they said that for you to enter that stadium, they when they were team playing, it was Bafana and what?
Bafana in Ethiopia.
Playing there now, you are expected to show them your vaccine certificate.
But I've seen recently in the news, it's been trending that university are considering making it mandatory for students to vaccinate. University
on its own is considering, of which now we don't form part of that decision.
What if the decision is made now?
Right now we are against that decision. You must remember, my sister, there are so many decisions are made in the institution.
Yes.
And so many decisions are never implemented. Because later when they are made, they will issue a communique to case students now forced to go and vaccinate. Now as the political party, ours will stand. That's why we are making it clear to the management of the University of Limpopo in particular, because that's where we exist.
Yeah.
Or no vaccine will be compulsory in this university. It will be optional as it is, because there's nothing special about this university and other universities in the country. It must be optional. We are all citizens of this country. Hence, we are guided by the lockdown regulation of the country, not our own. Yeah. As the university, but even though the University of Limpopo and I hear there's this one of, but who is this woman, the MEC of Popi Ramatuba, saying that vaccine must be compulsory. It's never going to appear.
What is the SEO saying about the vaccine issue?
You see, some of the things you must not take 10 minutes while you have already made a point. What the EFFSC is saying, it's what also SCO is saying. So I cannot waste time on the issue of vaccine.
Okay.
The very same thing is said is what SCO is saying. A vaccine must not be compulsory. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you guys. I would like to hear a closing statement from the EFF before we finish off.
Thank you very much. Mine is very much simple, is to send the message to the University of Limpopo, in particular those who have voted for the EFF to be the only political party with the majority votes.
Yes.
In 2021 elections. Or we are very much grateful for trusting the EFF to can go and represent you in the SRC. Even though the dynamics have changed, the university came with its tactics, but it shows the love that you have for the EFFSC, and right now we are very much grateful for that. And as we did when TSRC was leading, we assisted a lot of students to can register, to get cleared, to even get the allowances during the year. Okay. That's what we did, and that's what we are going to do, even being out of power, even after being robbed votes.
Yes.
That's what we are going to do as the EFF. We don't have to be in governance to represent students. We represent a student being out of governance. That's what we are going to continue. So EFF is going to exist in the University of Limpopo, represent the student how we have been doing. Nothing is going to change.
Okay, so let's say one of the students watching this wants to contact you. Where can they find you?
Us as the members of the EFF, usually we are at Gate 2 on Fridays from 12 to 4. If on our Red Fridays, that's in most particular when we go there, we issue out posters. You can see that EFF is there at Gate 2. But if in particular there's something that students want, they can contact us. 076
and you can say it to the camera.
076 660 6868. 076 660 6868.
Okay, thank you. And the closing statement from the SEO.
Thanks very much. What I can say as the Student Christian Organization is that we are going to serve all the interest of students.
Yes.
We are going to use the office that we are having, the office of the secretary. We want all students to benefit from this office. They must not be afraid to come to SCO if they are having problems. We will help them. Our office is there at student chambers. Even when they don't find us there, they will get us on our Facebook page, which is SCO Teflop TV. On YouTube is Teflop SCO, and Instagram is SCO Teflop.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you guys for joining us today at the West Ivy podcast. I hope you guys have learned from our student parties in the University of Limpopo, and we'll see you again. Thanks.